Hello, this is Anita, jewelry and accessory designer for UK-based brand Anita Quansah London. So today I want to go on a creative journey with you. We're going to design as we go along. I have this beautiful pendant here, acrylic pendant here. This is from actually a belt, believe it or not. But we're going to use this as a focal point for our necklace, and then we're going to make it up, turn this pendant into a statement necklace. The idea I was thinking of was more or less like something with maybe with the fringing detailing, and we have like maybe a very statement beads with sparkles that will accompany this beautiful acrylic belt pendant and make it look more elaborate, because at the moment when you look at it, it's beautiful, it's got lovely sheen to it, but there's so many possibilities we can do with this. So in order to make our necklace, I'm going to introduce you to certain tools that we need, and then as I work along, I design along, I can now talk about the beads I'm using. But the main tools I'm going to be using for this project would be my flat nose plier. I'm going to be using my bent nose plier. I use my bent nose plier if I'm going to be opening and closing my jump rings. And I'll be using my round nose plier. Then I'll be using my side cutters and a pair of scissors, a lighter perhaps, a ruler, we'll be needing a ruler, and then sewing needle or beading needle, and then a thread, and I'm using this particular one, which is used was a nylon thread, a very strong nylon thread. Normally use it for denim and for leather. I use this a lot in my sewing work, in my lot of my bead work, which involves a lot of sewing. So it's a very, very strong sewing thread. So we'll be needing that as well. And I will also be needing, for stringing, we'll also be needing a tiger tail. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and now start designing our necklace. So for my beads, I have quite a few options. I was thinking, aside from the acrylic belt pendant, I've got 4 leaf-shaped onyx, black onyx that I'm going to use, which is such a beautiful, it's got beautiful sheen to it. I've got a strand of agate, which has like a grayish black and then white tone to it. So you can see this is going to be kind of a monochromatic. It is a what? Monochrome themed color scheme. So I've got these 2 beautiful crystal bead. I had this from, I got like an old necklace a while back. I used the beads for a project I was working on, but I kept this pendant, and obviously this has come in very handy because I'm going to use it on this project we're going to be working on. And then I've got my Swarovski crystals teardrop. I love Swarovski crystals. Honestly, I love Swarovski crystals. So this is gonna give it a nice shimmer as well. So I've got quite a few of that there, and I've got like this I think 8mm rhinestone Rondelle spacer beads as well that I'm gonna be using as well. So I'm gonna be telling you how many I'm using as we're beading along. As we're stringing along. So at the moment it's going to be kind of like impromptu, intuitive design. I've got my crimp covers here. This is a 4mm silver plated crimp covers. I've got my 2.5, that's my crimp covers there. I've got my 2.5 spacer beads, silver plated spacer beads I'll be using as well. And I've got my crimp, my silver plated crimp. This is actually, what size? This one is 4mm crimp beads. I'll be using that as well. I've got my toggle clasp as well that I'll be using for this, as well as for my closure. And I've got these beautiful multifaceted glass beads as well that I'll be using as well. So there's a mixture of a tubular beads there and round beads as well. I'll also be using that for this project. I've also got this Tibetan style tube beads. I don't know yet. It might be included in this project. It might not be, but I'll just mention it just in case. And I've got a collection here it's like I've got this bead soup here. So I've got my 2.5 mm glass beads. I'm not going to be using the blue one. I'm going to be using this multifaceted purplish, greenish, bluish color with a black hint as well. I thought that would be a beautiful contrast to the necklace as well, so I'll be using that. So I won't be using the blue, I'll just be using more of this multifaceted colors as well. So the seed beads I'll be using will be 2.5 mm as well. Okay, so we're going to start with the first part. So I'm thinking of making like a dangling charm to hang off my pendants like that. So this is the top part of the pendant, this is the bottom part of the pendant. So I want something to be dangling off here because we've got this space in here. You know, this is where the leather was in the belt, and then it was, you know, as you can just put it, as you can imagine. So to make a start, to make a pendant, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my needle. So I'll thread my needle and I'm going to insert a crimp bead. So I'm just going to move all my beads to one side here so that everything is not all over. Well, let's do some housekeeping. So just move everything to one side. All right, so I'll just move all that. Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to get my needle and I'm going to insert one crimp bead onto my needle. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and bring my bead tray and I'm going to insert thread 1, 2, 3 of my seed bead onto my needle. So you've got the crimp bead there and you've got the 3 seed bead there. I'm going to now thread onto my sewing needle, my thread, my tube beads as well. And I'm going to take one of the Onyx leaf, which is this one here. I'm going to thread that through and then thread that through here like so. Okay, and I'm going to get another tube bead, thread it through my needle like so, and I'm going to take another 3 seed beads, thread that onto my needle. So I've got my crimp bead, 3 seed bead, my tube bead, my Onyx leaf there, gemstone bead, I've got my tube bead, and I've got my 3 seed bead. So I'm just going to straighten my thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it slightly like so. Okay, I'm going to take my needle, my sewing needle, I'm going to use this hand and I'm going to pick up my crimp tube and I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to insert my needle through the crimp tube and I'm going to pull out my thread. So as I'm pulling it, you can see I'm shortening the thread. Okay, so the same rule applies here, because when you're using your crimp bead with your tiger tail, you never let your tiger tail cross over before you flatten your crimp. You just straighten out your tiger tail, straighten it out, make sure they are not crossed over. So the same rule applies here. Make sure that your sewing thread doesn't cross over. So it's like this. So I'm just going to use my hand. I'm going to slide the tube crimp in the middle like so. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and use my flat nose plier and I'm going to flatten the crimp. So just put my flat nose plier in between the crimp, between my flat nose plier. I'm going to flatten my crimp like so. Okay, so I've got my flattened crimp like that. So to cover this crimp, it's up to you. You can cover it. You can cover it, and then you can cover the crimp, or you can leave it like so. But I like to cover mine just to give it that nice, perfect, finished look. And I'll show you what I mean in a bit once we've covered it with the crimp cover. So I've got my crimp cover like this. I've got my crimp cover, and then I'm gonna grab my crimp cover with my flat nose plier. I'm gonna insert the crimped part. Bear with me. So I'm gonna insert the crimped part in between my crimp bead like so. Oh, it's a bit fiddly. Sorry, I'm just gonna use my hand. Okay, so I'm just gonna, it's like putting the crimp in the open mouth. let's call it like open mouth if you bear with me. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold it like so. Okay, so you can see that crimp is inside my thread. Okay, what I normally do is I work with 2 pliers. Okay, I work with one with a ridged surface here, tip here, and also work with one with a flat surface here. I like using this flat one, the one with the smooth surface, because when I'm closing my when I'm closing things like my crimp cover, I just like a smooth. I don't want any scratches on the surface of the crimp cover. So I'm just going to use this. So I'm just going to use my flat nose plier. I'm going to pinch close my crimp cover. So I just have to keep pinching it close till both sides of the crimp are closed. So to form like a bead shape in a way. Okay, so when you completely close it, just as you're closing it, just don't be too harsh with it, just slowly just bend it over. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my crimp cover. Okay, let me just, this part has moved. Yep, then go ahead again and then close it shut. So I'm going to go again, move it around. So you have to kind of keep maneuvering round till you've completely covered the crimp cover. Because you want it to look like a bead. So it looks like a bead, but obviously it's hiding the crimp tube inside. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover it like so. Okay, so as you can see, I've covered my crimp tube inside. My crimp tube is inside, so I've covered my crimp tube with my crimp cover. So what I'm going to do is you're left with this thread here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a knot, just make a knot just on top of the bead. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off this shorter wire here, and then I'm going to use my lighter. Make sure that when you're sealing off your thread, not the one, don't cut off the thread with your sewing needle. Cut off the shorter one, and when you're sealing your thread, make sure you use this hand just to get this one that you need, this thread with your needle, out of the way, and then you just seal the shorter part that you've just cut off. So when you're sealing off, be careful you don't melt your thread. So once you've done that, it looks like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and thread one of my Swarovski crystals. So one of my Swarovski crystals will be facing that way. So the pointy part will be facing downwards. So I'll show you what I mean. So it looks like, so it'll be facing that way. Okay, and I'm going to thread now one of my spacer beads. So my spacer beads is 2.5 millimeters in size. And I'm going to now thread my Swarovski crystals with the back of the bead facing the spacer bead. So it looks like that. That's what it looks like. So I'm just going to repeat that pattern. So put my spacer bead and then my crystal beads facing downwards, and then my my spacer beads in the middle, and then my Swarovski crystals facing upwards like so. So it's like back, up, like back to back, like that. It's facing the back. Okay, so once I've done that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Swarovski crystals, and I've got 1, 2, 3 spacer beads, and I've got my crimp cover there. So I'm going to go ahead and then do 3 more. So I've done 3 more from previous, because obviously this is going to take time if I keep stringing it along. So I did this because obviously I'm going to have different lengths coming out of dangling out of my pendant here. So what I've done is I've gone for 2 sides. So I've done this this detail here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and I've got also 1, 2, 3, 4 here on this side as well. Bear with me. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. And then what I've also done is I've threaded the same, using the same technique. I've done much of a longer one because I want some of my dangles to be longer than like short, long, short. Okay, so I'm just going to straighten it out so you can see what I mean. So I've got this here. Okay, so for my longer part, I've used the same amount of seed beads, which is like 3 seed beads on each side, with the 1 tube bead, my onyx leaf, and then my tube bead, and then the 3 seed beads, and then with my crimp bead in the middle, covered with my crimp cover. Then for the middle part, I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my crystal Swarovski crystals, and I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 5 spacer beads in between. Okay, so that's what it looks like when I line them up next to each other. So it looks like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and just place them to one side, and then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab hold of my pendant here. Okay, so I'm going to insert onto my first dangle which has the 4 Swarovski crystals. I'm going to insert my crimp bead, my crimp tube. Okay, so I insert my crimp tube onto my strong dangle. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I've got some beads here. I've got like some random glass beads. So I'm just hoping it will be enough. Okay, it will be enough. So I've got this other 2.5 round multifaceted glass beads there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my seed beads. So in between my seed beads, I've got some smaller size seed beads as well. I think this one, if I'm not going to start guessing, but this is the smallest, as you can see, is very, very small in comparison to this size I'm using here. But again, if you're making yours, you can also decide to use a seed bead size of your choice. But I would like to use this small one because obviously it's going to be inside here, my pendant. Okay, so I'm just going to put 1, bear with me, 2. This is like an assortment of, it's like a bead with an assortment of different bead size. I think what happened was it came like this, and then as I tipped it over, the beads kind of like mixed up with each other, but it's okay. It's all right. So I'm going to tell you how many seed beads I've put through my needle in a bit. So I'm just going to go through that. Again, you can use any colors of your choice. I always like to recycle as much as possible. Like whenever I have items that obviously that is not in use, or I've outgrown, or I've thought, okay, it's had this time of the day, I never throw things away. I always keep them, and in future always have, find use for it. I've used some repurposed items in my shoes that I've designed, in my slippers. I've used them in my jewelry. So I always say think before you throw away, because you never know, whatever you throw away can become somebody else's treasure. It's like that saying, well, something trash, something treasure. I don't know. Let me know even somebody else's trash becomes somebody else's treasure. Exactly. So I'm just going to put some more. Yeah, so just always keep things. I have like a box where I put all like broken jewelry, even sometimes where you've gone out, or maybe you've missed like an item, a pair of earrings or something. Always keep them because they come in very, very handy. Very, very handy. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you how many seed beads I've used here. Okay, so let me just count. So hopefully, so I put my crimp tube there, and I put this bigger size bead here, which is like 2.5 in size. Then I've used 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Okay, so I've used 17 small seed beads there. Okay, so I need to make a note of that because obviously that's what I need to use on the other ones as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my needle. I'm going to pass my needle through from the back. So depending on the side, actually I like the side because this side has more of like some scratches on it. So I'm just going to use the smooth side. So I'm going to take my needle, pass it through this loop here on my belt pendant. So I'm going to pass my beads through the pendant like that. And then I'm going to insert my needle back through the 2.5 mm bead. I'm going to pull it out, okay, and then slide it down. I'm going to pass my needle through my crimp tube and then through my crystal bead. So I'm just going to pull it out like so. Okay, so when you pull it out, so you're left with something like this. Okay, then what I'm going to do to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and flatten my crimp tube. Okay, when I flatten my crimp tube, I'm just going to, this thread here, I'm just going to snip it away with my scissors. Okay. All right. That's what it looks like once we're done. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and repeat the other parts as well. So I've got this longer one here, the longer threaded bead dangle that we did. I'm going to repeat the same thing, thread my 2.5 mm glass bead. I'm going to also thread onto my, I'm going to string onto my thread a tube bead, and I'm going to go ahead again and repeat the same thing, threading 17 seed beads. Oh, I remember this time round. Actually, honestly, to be honest with you, with every jewelry I make, I can tell you I know the amount of beads that I use for each one is weird. For someone that, when I was in school, when I did my GCSEs, I wasn't so great at maths. I really wasn't good at maths. Really wasn't good. I think I won't lie to you, I think I managed to get like, I think I got a C or a D. No, actually, I think it was a C. But obviously, my family members were expecting me to get like maybe an A star, you know. And when I came out with a C, I don't know whether they were all impressed or not, but I think they were. I think they were impressed. Because obviously they knew that I wasn't a fan of maths. But since I started doing jewelry design and doing accessory design, actually once I trained as a textile designer, and I realized that everything, let me count this, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 14, 15, 16, 17, so we only need 3 more. So when I trained as a textile designer at Chelsea College of Art and Design, and obviously everything that I did was symmetrical, was calculated, down from the measurement of the dies I was using, down to the measurement, to the seam allowance, down to everything. Everything was heavily, I had to calculate. So for someone that wasn't so great at maths, I'm not having to use maths in everything I create. So we've got the 7 here. So we're just going to go again and repeat the same thing, pass the needle from the back to the front. And then again, I'm going to pass my threaded part through my pendant. And then, oh, where is my, oh, okay. All right, so I think I did, yeah. And then pass that through here. Did I do? Okay, what I did something wrong. Oh, no. Oh, no, yes, I did. Bear with me. Okay, some people would have just like left it like that, but what I did was I put my, I'm supposed to put my crimp tube first before I put my 2.5 glass bead, but I put my bead first and then put the crimp bead. Some people would have left it like that and thought, oh no, it's all right. But for me, I'm meticulous about things. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it right. Do it the right way. So that it kind of, the design is kind of cohesive with the rest of it. So I'm just going to go ahead again and thread back onto my needle, my seed beads. So yeah, so obviously everything I create, hand make, is symmetrical. And when people say, oh my goodness, like even your statement pieces, like I said, yes, I know the exact amount of beads I use for each one. So if I'm working on something and I'm starting with the middle, and then obviously the amount of beads on the left hand side has to be the same amount of the beads on the left hand side. Let me tell you the truth. I feel so guilty when I've kind of like said, okay, let me know what, let me just maybe forfeit this and just go along. Nobody's going to notice. I'm like, no, but you're going to notice yourself, Anita, and you're going to feel so bad. So I always have to redo the whole thing. Okay, let me count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So I've got one more there to make it 17. Okay, fantastic. So I'm just going to go ahead and just thread my needle from the back to the front. Okay, and I'm going to thread my needle through the round bead, pull it down, and then through my crimp tube. And then I'm going to slide it down like so. So slide. Okay, so once I've slid it down, I'm going to go ahead and use my flat nose wire. I'm going to flatten my crimp like so. Okay, and then this wire here, I'm just going to snip it off. Okay. All right, so that's what it looks like. The second one done. The second one is done. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat and do the same thing for the third one. The trick, what I did was to make it quicker. What I did was I lined all my thread with 4 different needles. So that could be a trick that you could do. So you just thread all your components, your beads, and your beads on the 4 different needles, and then that way it's easier for you to kind of like, you know, to put everything together. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead again and grab my crimp tube, and then again insert my bead, glass bead, and I'm gonna again repeat the whole thing, 17. All right, so I'm just gonna find 17 beads in between this jamboree of beads. Yes, I was saying, like obviously symmetrical is very, you know, it's very important in my work, and calculating every bead's precision, although nothing is perfect, you know, but we all aim to try to be perfect, but although I try as much as possible to kind of like make sure that whatever I'm making is good. It's very good. So, and that includes, again, not skimming down on quality, not skimming down on things that is just going to speeding up the process just for the sake of just like, oh, inconvenient, because it's inconveniencing me. No, I take my time with anything I make. And if it means I have to redo the whole thing and start all over again, yes, take it all apart. Because the guilty conscience I feel, and I know that I have this secret within me that, oh, even though if like a client buys something, and I know deep down that I've done something that is not right within the design. That's why I feel like I feel so much guilt. If I do that. So I said to myself, I need to might as well do the things the right way, right from the beginning. Save yourself the long-term guilt. At least when you see the client wearing your stuff, you don't see your client thinking, oh my goodness, oh no, I know there's something that I could have done wrong, and you have that guilt that lives with you. Nah. So I just do things right. I do things right from the beginning. So even if it's 17 beads I'm using on this, yes, it's 17 beads all the way. Not 16, not 18, 17. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we've got one more to make it 17. Okay. So might as well do things right. When you do things right, it's best in the long run. Okay. All right. So I've got my shorter bead, longer bead there. So again, I have to be careful how I place them because I want my Onyx leaf to be facing the right direction. Okay, so that's something you have to consider if you're using, you know, like something that has like a bead that has like a focal point. Make sure that obviously it's facing the right direction. So I'm going to thread my needle through like I've done with the past two. I'm going to thread my needle through the round glass bead, through my crimp tube, through my first Swarovski crystals, and then I'm going to pull. Okay, so just pull gently. All right, so when you pull gently, so making sure that all my beads are all round like that. Okay, so you can see all the beads here, no thread is showing. And then I'm going to go ahead and flatten my crimp again. All right, I'm just going to now snip off this thread I'm not going to use again. So I've got my last 4 beads. I'm thinking maybe, does it need like a 5th? I think it might need like a 5th one, you know. I'm thinking it might need a 5th one because there's still space. You know what? I think it needs a 5th one. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and put a space. I've done this one that I did before. This had like 4 Swarovski crystals. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it the same length as the middle one. So the middle ones have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I just need to thread 2 more of my, okay, let's see again. All right, you see what I mean here? All right, Anita. Making sure that everything is facing the right way. So you see, that's going up, that's facing here, that's going up, that's facing, okay, this one is facing the wrong way. So I need to make that face down. And then I'm going to put my spacer beads again. So is everything facing the right way? Yep. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we've got one should be facing up. Okay. So here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to again thread my crimp tube, and then I'll find one of my bigger beads, my small beads here, my bead there, and I'm going to again thread 17 of my seed beads. So let's go, let's find the beads. Okay, so yeah, so I mean you can use any size beads as you wish, and or any colors as you wish for your own design. Like I said, I want to keep this design monochromatic colors, just to go with the pendant, because the pendant, obviously that's actually, like I said, that's from the belt. That is, it looks like mother of pearl, but it's acrylic. It's acrylic. But imagine if you had like a mother of pearl pendant. Ooh, that would be lush. That would be absolutely gorgeous if you use mother of pearl. I love mother of pearl. I love mother of pearl. You can actually do like maybe a sea themed. Ooh, yeah. And then now, obviously, the festive Christmas is coming. You know, if you have any birthdays coming, you can can go through what you have already at home, like things you can recycle, and then you can make them, turn them into beautiful pieces of jewelry. You know, so it's fun when you make stuff. I find it relaxing as well. I don't know about you. Whenever I call creativity, when I'm in sanctuary, I call my studio my sanctuary. It's like when I'm in there, nothing else matters. Okay, so 17, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, 14, 15. Where is it? 15. Okay, I broke that one. 15, 16. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna count again, sorry. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, yes. And then we need 2 more. And then one more, Anita. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead again. I'm gonna take my needle from the back to the front, and I'm gonna pull it out like so. I'm gonna thread it through the bead, this bead here, my bigger bead here, thread it through the crimp tube, through my crystal, and then pull it out like so. So I'm just gonna slowly slide. I mean, you can also use like tiger tail for this as well, but I like the freedom. I like the freedom the thread gives, you know, the tassels. So it's not really rigid. It's just like, it's like that. It flows very easily. And then of course what I did was I doubled my thread. So when you double your thread, is a lot more. Okay, so we're going to add one more. I think we're going to add one more. There's space for one more. Yeah, I'll add one more. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle again. Let me thread my needle. I work with so much needle. I use beading needle and I use normal sewing needle. So what I do is when I'm using normal sewing needle, I make sure that my needle, just bear with me, I'm just looking for, okay, I'm going to save this little bit here because I'm going to use it for something else. I make sure that, so what I normally do is I get my needle like so, my thread like so, and then I pass it through my needle. So I always double up depending on what I'm working on. If I'm stitching like maybe more of a babe style necklaces or like a collar style necklaces, and I'm doing a lot of stitching, I normally triple my needle, my thread. So I triple my thread, or even 4 times, 5 times, depending what I'm sewing. And then I love this nylon thread because it's, I'll show you again, that's what it is. This one, it's such a beautiful, it lasts me, I'll get 1 roll of this. This is like 4,000 meters, and this 4,000 meters, trust me, I do a lot of sewing. I sew my shoes, my slippers, my jewelry, and this 4,000 meters will last me at least good 2 years. 2 years, so it's quite a good investment. So what I'm going to go ahead and do next, again, I've threaded my needle. I'm just going to get my crimp bead, my crimp tube. Okay, my crimp tube like so. I'm just going to get my 3 of my beads, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to slide my tube bead, and I'm going to take one of my Onyx leaf, pass it through, get my tube bead again, and then a further 1, 2, 3 seed beads like so. Okay, so once I've done that, I've got it like that. All right, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take my needle, pass it through my crimp, and then pull it out like so, and then making sure that my crimp tube is in the middle, is sitting right in the middle of my beads. I'm just going to arrange it so it's sitting in the middle like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my flat nose plier. I'm going to flatten my crimp tube, okay? And then I'm going to take my crimp cover. I'm going to cover my crimp tube so it's hiding inside, so it now looks as if it's like a bead. Okay, so I'm just going to use 2 hands and grip onto it like that, and I'm going to use my flat nose plier. I'm going to close. Okay, just slowly be closing it. Don't do it with so much force, just gently press, and then bring it together again. If you feel like your crimp is peeking out from the side, what you can do is again push your crimp back in, close, just go over it round, and then as you can see, I've closed my crimp cover. So I'm just going to go ahead. This thread here is not enough to tie a knot, but it's okay. I've flattened my crimp, so that's fine. Just going to trim it off the thread, okay? And then I've got my beaded dangle there. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead again and just thread my, so for this last one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 of my Swarovski crystals and 3 of my spacer beads. Okay, again, back. So again, threading like this, and then like so, and then my spacer bead, and then again, and then again facing that way. Okay, so I'll make sure I line everything up, make sure that everything is facing the right way. Yep. Okay, for my last bead, obviously it's going to stay here because it's going to be aligned with the first one there. So I'm just going to thread my crimp tube onto my thread, and then my smaller, my 2.5 mm glass beads again, and we're going to thread onto the needle 17 seed beads. Okay, I really ought to go and get, I need to get more of the multifaceted seed bead, that very tiny one. I'm not going to start guessing the size of it, because when I see beads, I'm a huge collector of beads. And when I go to antique shops as well, and like vintage stores or thrift stores, Americans call it thrift stores. We call it charity stores here. So what I tend to do is I go around. You see I'm one of those people you see on the jewelry or odd bits bin, where they put all the mismatched stuff together, buttons, clasp, old jewelry, old earrings. I just pick up everything. And I come back home and it's like a kid in the candy shop. And I lay everything down and I look at them. Often, sometimes I break out in tears because I cannot imagine how much I got them. And then when I'm telling them, I'm so excited when I go to the till and I'm paying. I'm telling the ladies, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, I'm gonna make this. She's looking at me thinking, what are you on about? But obviously, whatever you can see, nobody else can see, you know. So I've learned that over the years. Sometimes it's best to keep shut, your mouth shut, than explain to people certain things and they will not understand it. Or even if they understand it, they will not respect your vision. So sometimes I just discuss my ideas with certain people that I know that will understand it, you know. And that wouldn't just like talk me out of it. Because when I'm on a roll with an idea, my goodness. Ah, man, I'm on a roll. I'll tell you that now. Okay, 17. Let's count 17. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. Got 17 exactly. Oh, okay. Making sure that if my beads are facing the right way. Okay, so I'm just going to take my needle, pass it from the back. Okay, so this is going to be the final one we're going to make. I'm going to take my needle, pass it through my 2.5 mm bead, through my crimp, and then through the crystal. I'm going to pull it out like so. So I'm just going to pull. So I need to be careful here. You don't want to pull too many. Okay, pull, pull, pull. Fabulous. So when I pull it, I make sure that my thread is not showing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and crimp. Fasten my crimp. Then I'm going to take this little bit here. I'm going to cut it. All right, so that's it. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the beaded dangles like that. But I don't want to, you can obviously, if you wish to go ahead and leave your beaded parts with the crimped parts open like that, you can. But for me, I am weird like that, whereby, oh, well, no, maybe not weird. Maybe it's because I just like things done well. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to use my crimp covers. I'm going to cover it. So the crimp cover will act like the tube and then act like the spacer beads. So I'm just going to take one crimp cover. So I'm just going to do it one by one, okay? So I'm just going to start with the outer side. So I'm just going to take my crimp cover. Oh, okay. So I'm just going to slide it. Bear with me. It's a bit fiddly now because I've got... Maybe you could possibly do yours. So when when you've done each one, you put your crimp cover before you do the next lot. But whichever one is easier for you. So I'm just gonna put my crimp cover like so. Okay, come on. Get in that mouth. Get in that mouth. Oh, okay. It's gonna go in. It's just gonna be a bit fiddly. Okay, hold on. We shall continue. We shall get it done. One thing about me is patience. I am so patient with my stuff, with whatever I make. So I'm not gonna give up. I have to keep like going. Yes, we've got it in. Fabulous. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my flat nose plier. I'm gonna pinch it close. Maybe when you're doing yours, before you do the next lot of I'm working with a lot of pliers here. I've got different flat nose pliers. Maybe when you're doing yours, maybe the easiest thing for you to do is, as you've done each string, what you can go ahead is, after you've crimped your bead, your crimp tube, you can go ahead and cover it straight away with your crimp cover. Unlike what I did was I strung all mine first and then I'm not covering them now individually. But it's okay. Either way, it gets covered. Either way. Okay, so I'm just gonna, oh, there's a bead in the mat on that one. How did the blue bead get in there? My goodness. All right, so I'm just gonna put that through here, through the mouth, all the way through the mouth. Okay. I talk to myself a lot when I'm designing. I talk to myself a lot. I guess maybe speaking, when you speak to the beads, you speak the language of the beads will understand, you know. Okay, so I'm just gonna do that. Fabulous. I'm just gonna use I've got a lot of pliers here on my table, but I'm using flat nose plier anyway. So, but it's just like different. So when you're crimping, when you're covering your tube, be careful as well. Sorry, I'm using, it's the same flat nose pliers, just that it might appear, you may be thinking, how many pliers is she using? I'm using flat nose plier, trust me. Just that it's different colors. Okay, so I just have to be careful. Okay, oh, thank goodness. Oh, I was almost worried then that I flattened my seed bead. Oh, thank God it's not gone. Still, all right. I think that one is all right. I think. Okay, let's go around again, making sure. Actually, let me hold it this way so that I make sure that I don't, because I don't want to lose one of my seed bead. You see? Okay, so I've done that. Let me bring it up like so. And then flatten it. Okay, I think that one is done. Okay, that one is done. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the same thing for the third one. So put it in the mouth like so. I call it mouth. It reminds me of, you know, like Pac-Man, the computer game Pac-Man that I used to. This is when I was younger. The Pac-Man like that, choo, 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 with the mouth open. So it's like with the C. So I'm just gonna insert it through like that, okay? Oh yeah. All right, facing up. Okay, all right, Anita, you can get it done. Come on, girl, you can do it. Come on, beads, work with me here. All right, we've come a long way. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead now and close it. Yes, beads, well done. Yes, it's coming together. I've got a very grumpy dog. It's making noise. I can hear it making noise. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead again and then pinch my Crimp Covers close. Okay. Pinch it close, because I want to pinch it round so that it looks like a bead, like my spacer bead. You see, that's why I am using that. Okay, so that's the third one done. I'm gonna do the fourth one. Okay, so just put the fourth one like so. Alright, so just put that. It's a bit fiddly. I mean, if you yeah, okay. I guess this, with some time you have like you master your own technique of doing yours. Okay, it's getting easier and easier, as you can see. I guess practice makes progress, right? Yeah, so I'm just gonna flatten. Oh, okay, I've got different. Okay, make sure that's covered. That's covered. Fantastic. Okay, so I've got one more to do. So I've got one more here. So the last one, make it easy for me. Make it easy for me. Okay, so all right. Okay, make it easy for me, last one. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yep. All right, okay. All right, we're almost there. Thank you, beads. All right, so, yep, okay. Thank you. You're so beautiful, beads. I don't want to crack you. You're so beautiful. I just want to make you even more pretty. All right, by adding this beautiful silver crimp cover. Okay, so once I've done that, whew, oh my goodness, you know when you're doing this, right? My heart is racing. just in case if I crack one bead, I'm having to start all over again. All right, so that's what it's done. So you can see the crimp covers, I've used the crimp covers there. So the crimp covers kind of goes with the rest of the spacer bead. So it actually looks as if it's a spacer bead. You see, only you and I know what's hiding behind that. The onlookers that see that wouldn't know that there's a crimp tube hiding inside that. So shh, let's not tell anybody. Okay, so we've done our pendant like so. So make sure that that's facing the right way, because I want my leaf, my onyx leaf, to be facing the right way. Okay, I've got to clean that later on. Just clean that. So that's what it looks like. So we're going to go ahead now and do this part here. For this part here, I was thinking of using tiger tail, because obviously that part here is going to be holding the, supporting the neck, the beads. So I'm thinking, instead of using our thread, we're going to use tiger tail instead. So in that case, what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my tiger tail. I always like to give myself enough room to work with. So let's say if I cut myself about, bear with me. If I cut about, let's say about 16 centimeters of my tiger tail, all right? 16 centimeters. So I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe have cut about 4 of those. So I'm just gonna so I just cut it here, 4 of those, okay? Using the first one as my measure, as my guideline. So I take that one, measure it out the same length. Okay, I need 4 of those. Oh, actually 5. I need 5 of those. Oh. I've got my tiger tail unraveling. Sorry. Okay, so I'm just going to repeat again. So I'm just going to take the first one, measure it out like so. All right. So yeah, so I'll be needing 5 of those. I've done 4 already. So I'll just get the 5th one. This is my 5th one I'm going to cut now. Then cut the 5th one. Okay, so let me just put this out of the way. My tiger tail out of the way. All right, so that's all this. I've got my 5 tiger tails here. I've got 5 of them. Okay, so I'm just going to put my pendant out of the way for now. I'm just going to grab one of my tiger tail, okay? And then what I'm going to do next is, I think we'll still need a seed bead, but I'm going to go for the biggest seed bead this time. So I'm going to thread onto my tiger tail, my crimp bead, like so, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread maybe, let me see how many of those beads I will need. Let's see. So I'm just going to, I've threaded 2 so far. I normally use a bead stopper, but I haven't got my bead stopper around me at the moment, because if you have a bead stopper, you can use your bead stopper to hold your beads like that, but I haven't got it around me at the moment. I really should have it next to me all the time, but I thought maybe I wouldn't use it for this project, but obviously I was wrong. Okay, so I'm just gonna, because this part that I'm doing is going to go here to form a loop. Okay, to go, so maybe one more. So one more. What do you think? Maybe I should put, you know what? You know what? Yeah, because if I do that and then put like the crimp cover, it's going to look rather odd. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my spacer beads, because again, we're still gonna bring in our crimp cover so it forms part of the design. So I'm just going to put my spacer beads actually in between my 2 mm's seed bead, like so. So I'm just going to put the spacer beads in between each one. Yeah, it makes more sense. It makes more sense, and it will look nicer as well, I think, rather than just having one odd silver bead. Then clearly it will look nice, but it would just be like, what are you hiding behind there? Why is that odd one there? So I'm just going to put that here. Let me just pass that through and then see whether that goes. Okay, I've got quite, maybe do one more seed bead, one more seed bead. So one more of this bead like that. Oh, that's okay, like that. Okay, so I've got my crimp tube there. I've got my crimp tube, I've got my seed bead, spacer bead. So in this part here, I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spacer beads, and 2, 4, 6, and then 6 seed beads, and then my crimp tube. So I'm just gonna take my one end of my tiger tail, pass it through that top loop like that, and I'm gonna take my shorter part of my tiger tail. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure that they're the same length. Side there. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this part of my tiger tail, I'm gonna insert it through my crimp tube, and then through one of the seed bead, and then through one of the spacer bead, and I'm gonna pull my wires like so. So you can see there's that crimp tube there. Okay, that crimp tube is there. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten the crimp. Okay, when I flatten the crimp, make sure that the crimp is flat completely. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim off my wires. Okay, so trim that off. So you've got the crimp tube there. What I'm going to go ahead now is I'm going to try and use my crimp cover to cover the crimp tube. So I'm just going to place my crimp cover, my crimped part through. Okay, so I'm just going to wiggle it out. Okay, try and see what I can use a plier for this. No, you have to. Okay, bear with me. It will, like I said, nothing is impossible. It will be done. It just means that it's going to be a bit fidgety, but we'll get it done. Okay, so I'm just going to try and insert my crimped. Yeah, I told you nothing is impossible. Okay, so I'm just going to use my flat nose plier. I'm going to pinch my crimp tube together. I'm gonna get my another flat nose plier that has a pointy part there. Just gonna put that through, and then I'm gonna. Oh, what happened? I broke it. Okay, I guess we have to start all over again. It's all right. It's okay. I'm just gonna cut myself. I'm just gonna cut myself on different lengths. So, oh my goodness. Oh dear. Anita, what were you thinking? Oh dear. Okay, you know what I'm thinking? I'm gonna hold on, and you know what, let me see, let's do that again. Crimp tube seed beads, sorry, crimp tube seed beads. Okay, I'm gonna start all over again, and then again seed beads, and then spacer beads like so. Crimp. Accidents do happen, especially when it comes to beadwork like that. So nothing was perfect when it was first done. It was constant practice and dedication. Things get done. So permit me, if the first time it went wrong and you'll be thinking, oh no, what we'll do is we'll get back up again and we'll try again. Okay, maybe perhaps what I needed to do was add more seed beads. Maybe what I did was the crimped part was too close to the, yeah, it was too close, I think. Because sometimes when something like that happens, I see it as a blessing in disguise. You know, it means that I need to work on it again. So it's never like, so I think here, before I use 1, 2, 3, okay, so now I'm using 2, 4, 6, 7 spacer beads, and 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and then 8 seed beads. Okay, so maybe this would be a lot better. Let's give that a try. Maybe, yeah, I think it's a lot better. I think so too, because I think before, what happened was we were putting okay, so I'll put that here. Okay, I'll put my other end through the crimp tube, through the seed bead, and then this part here, I'm going to insert again, this other part, through the seed bead and through the crimp tube, the spacer bead. Okay. Oh, but it keeps going. All right. Okay. So you see, I've inserted both ends of my tiger tail through the tube beads and the spacer beads, the crimp tube and the seed bead and spacer beads. So you see, both of them are like that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and flatten my crimp. Okay, flatten it, Anita. Flatten it, flatten it, flatten it. All right. Okay. So I've got this part here. All right. Okay. So what I'm gonna, let me try that again. Let's try the crimp tube again. Okay. Let's try the crimp tube again. All right. This time round, it will not be too close to. Okay. Yes. Bear with me. Oh. Okay, Mr. Crimp Bead, don't you want me to use you today? Why? Why? Come on. Let's work together. Come on. Behave. All right. Behave, behave. We're going to make it work. All right? Okay. We're going to make it work. We tried the first time and you fell apart. Okay, now I understand how to make it work. Okay, so I'm just going to use my flat nose plier again, bring it closer. I'm going to use my other flat nose plier with a much pointier. Oh, let me try and bring that. Okay, okay, that's close. I don't need to use you. Okay, that's close, I think. Just maybe pinch it a little bit more closer. Working slowly. It's closing. Okay. Okay, with me being too meticulous about stuff, I'm just gonna go and make sure that it's completely closed. Well, it is closed now, but yeah, all right. So hopefully nothing will come out steady, right? Hopefully nothing will come out. I think that's fine. Okay, so you see I've got my crimp tube there, crimp cover there, so it's hiding inside my. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead again and repeat the same thing. How many seed? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 spacer beads. Okay, so I'll put my crimp tube and then I'll go ahead and get my. So I'll get my tube bead here and then I'll put my spacer bead, my blue, then I'll keep, oh, okay. Hold on, what is going on today? All right, okay. Tube bead. And then actually what I'm gonna do is, let me just put these beads here. It'll be easier for me to pick up. Let me put them here. It'll be easier, I think. Yeah, and then tube. And then let me bring the crimp spacer beads here. So we need 7 of those. Like I said, if I had my bead stopper here, I won't have to, this hand will be free. So I'm just having to use this one hand to thread each bead. But if I had my bead stopper on the other hand, with the other hand, then obviously I don't have, this hand would be free to be able to bead to string my beads on properly. You know, whoever invented that bead stopper, my goodness, you're a genius. You're a genius. I haven't got it at hand to show you, but it's like a clamp thing with a spring, and then you can use it to hold one end of your beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we'll put one more here, and then 7. Hold on. And I need to count how many of the seed bead I've used. Sorry. So I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of the seed beads. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got one more to make it 8. All right. So I've got that here. So 7 spacer beads, 8 seed beads. I'm going to pass it through like so. And I'm going to take this part, this shorter part of my wire, insert it through the crimp tube, and then insert it through a couple of beads. So I insert it through 1 seed bead and then 1 through spacer bead. And then this one here on the opposite side, I'm going to insert it again through 1 seed bead and 1 spacer bead. And then I'm going to pull, okay? So when I pull it, I'm going to use my flat nose plier to flatten. So make sure I flatten my beads properly, okay? Some people use like a crimping tool, and then they'll just crimp it and then fold it over. So I haven't got my crimping tool here. Okay, so I'm just going to again try and cover my bead tube, my crimp tube with my crimp cover. Okay, I'm just going to use my flat nose plier. Okay, and then I'm going to cover this like that. It gets easier as you're as you're doing. I've been doing jewelry for God knows since 2006, and I tell you, it gets easier as you go along. You know, every day is like a new experience. I'm learning something new. Each bead, each technique is teaching me something. You know, I'm learning on a daily basis. Learning, I tell you this. this making this is teaching me something new. You know, you'd be thinking, oh, but you already know. But trust me, each work you do teaches you something new each time. You know, and as a creative, I always say that too. I always said I'm open to learning. I'm open to learning from the beads, from every components I use. So I'm really, really open to learning. So I can't say I know it all, because I learn each day, you know. And most of the time as well is I learn from mistakes. And I guess that will be said also applicable to life as well. I learn through mistakes. I learn once I try something the first time, try the second time if it doesn't work, third time it doesn't work. No, I don't give up. I keep trying. I keep going, because it's like, man, what lesson am I meant to learn from this? So I just keep going, you know, till I finally get to that gem of a lesson, and I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to really learn from this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 7 of my spacer beads, and then I think 8 of my seed beads. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So I'm learning every day. So as I'm doing this, I'm learning. I think also that's the thing that's also taught me about not to give up at first try, having that never give up attitude. You know, when you keep trying and trying and trying. I think also with the work I do, which is a lot of beaded work, you can see what I do on my website, AnitaQuansahLondon.com. You'll find that a lot of my work is heavily beaded. You need a lot of patience. And if you don't have patience, my goodness. So it's taught me about patience. I have patience for a lot of stuff. But I won't tell you that I have patience for a lot of nonsense though. I know when to walk away from something that is not good for me. But I won't say because I'm patient about stuff, I'll just sit down there and tolerate a lot of nonsense. No. But it's taught me about a lot of patience when it comes to my work, with ideas, when things need to take time for it to come to full effect. Okay, so I've crimped again. I'm going to use my crimp cover. Again, I'm going to go ahead and crimp. I'm going to cover my crimp tube with my crimp cover. Yeah, so patience teaches you a lot of stuff. Teaches you a lot of stuff. You'll be amazed, like when you're creating stuff, you learn so much. You learn so much. You learn a lot of things that you can even apply to life, you know. I've learned, like I said, I've learned how to be patient, you know. I've learned how to be patient. I've learned how to be patient with my daughter. I've learned how to be patient with my dog. I've learned how to be patient with my friends. And one thing as well is, with this kind of thing, jewelry teaches me not to be too, don't expect too much, you know. Just allow things to just flow. Allow things to flow at the right time when it's meant to happen. It will happen. Allow things to just organically happen. Don't force things. So when I do my work, if something doesn't flow, if I'm not feeling it, I have learned to walk away from it. Take a well-earned break, leave it there. It might be there for a month. It might be there for a few weeks. It might be there for a few days. But I've learned to respect that idea, walk away from it, and then come back to it when I'm well rested. Because sometimes when you're tired, you'll be like, oh, you start doing stuff, you start pushing yourself. Nah. I've learned to walk away from ideas. And yeah, I think the ideas will respect you for that too. So I'm just going to trim off this part here. I was going to make 5. Do I need 5? Or is that 3 enough, Anita? I think that 3 will be enough. Because I was going to, initially I cut like 5, like tiger tails. I think 3 is enough. Yeah, I think 3 is enough. I'm going to save that too, because if we have time, I can make like a quick earrings to go with it. Okay, so I've got 3 of my, oh, it's like, looks like a ring, but it's going to be like our holder for our beads. Okay, so I've done that. So let's just move this out of the way. Out of the way. Okay, so we've just got our design like this, so it looks like that. Who would have thought that this was once a belt pendant? Nobody would have thought, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start working on the actual neck. So this feature that's going to go around our necklace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out my tiger tail. All right, I've got a stack of like pliers, different pliers on my table. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I normally give myself enough length to work with when it comes to, let me move all this. There's so many pliers on this table. Okay, I normally give myself enough length to work with. Okay, I'd rather have enough length to work with than have shorter length to work with. So what I'm going to do is I am going to say to myself, again, depending how you want your necklace to hang. So you can decide for yourself, do you want it long or do you want it more of collar shape, choker style design? You know, it depends on how you want it. So for my case, in my case, I am going more or less like maybe 80 to 90 centimeters. I've gone past my ruler, by the way. So if you're looking at this and you'll be thinking, okay, yeah, I'm going to go for about 80 to 90 centimeters. The reason I did that was because, like I said, it's easier. It's better for me and it's better for you to give yourself enough room to work with at the end. In terms of when we're finishing, inserting it throughout tube, it's best to have enough room at the end to work with than struggle with a shorter tiger tail. Okay, so I've got about 90 centimeters here. So I'm going to move my needle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my pendant like that. All right, my pendant. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy with it. All right, so we've got these 2 beads here. I quite like them. I really would love to bring them in to this. I will really would love to bring them in. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, let me put this, my other multifaceted beads to one side and then my crystal beads to one side. Let's move that. And we're going to bring my agate beads. So we're going to bring that here. So I really like the idea of using these 2 big jumbo beads there. So what I'm going to do, normally if you already have your design planned out on the beading board, then it's easy for you to kind of thread through your design. But in this case, I'm not using a beading board. I'm just using my felt mat. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread. Find a hole. There's a hole in here somewhere. There's a hole in here. Okay, there's oh, in one of these there's something missing. So I've got a spare crystal. I'm gonna glue in there because this bead, I've had this bead. Oh my goodness, I've had this bead for almost 7 to 8 years now. I told you I keep stuff. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where the hole. So I've put in one hole here. So I'm just gonna find the hole from the other side. Okay, I'm just gonna, oh, it's come through. Hi. I get so excited. Excuse me, I get so excited when I'm beading stuff. It's like, hi. Okay, so I've got this. I'm so sorry. I'm just here, just like laughing away because I put my tiger tail through a hole. But okay, so I'm just gonna get my this part of the tiger tail, and I'm gonna insert it through my 8mm rondelle. Okay, so I'm thinking it's gonna go through the middle. So I'm gonna put my Swarovski crystals. So I'm gonna put one of my Swarovski crystals facing this way. So I'm just gonna show you how it's gonna be facing. All right, so it's going to be facing that way, as you can see. All right, and then I'm going to put one of my, oh, what can I put there? Let me put like a bead. Let me find a bead. Okay, let me put this bead. There's a black bead there, like a small bead there. Okay, I'm liking that, Anita. All right, I'm just going to now thread my Swarovski crystals. So when I thread my Swarovski crystals, it's looking like that. So I've got my big bead, my rondelle, my Swarovski teardrop bead. I've got this bead here. It's about, I think it's about 4mm in size. 4mm? Yeah, that's 4mm. And I've got my teardrop bead here. You can see the way it's facing that way. All right, let me move this so you can see what it looks like there. All right. So I'm just gonna go again, thread my rondelle, Swarovski rhinestone rondelle. I'm gonna find a hole here. Yeah, watch me get excited all over again. Watch me get excited all over again. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. Let's see. Oh, come on, Annie. Oh, come on. All right, Mr. Bead. Come on. Let's do this. We can do this. Come on. Work with Anita here. Work with Anita here. Okay, we're almost there. It's like playing, like, you know, one of those when you go to a fun fair and you are having to catch the duck with the picking, with the hook thing. Well, people might say, oh, it's not quite the same, but that's how it is. It's like that. It's like playing a game to find out where the hole is. Okay, you see. Oh, come on. Oh, we're almost there. It's like I'm skipping. The hole is almost there. Okay, I'm peeking through. Okay, I'm not wearing my glasses. That is why. Okay, look at that. I've gone through. I'm sorry. Oh my God, no, you know what I did? No, I'm going to go ahead and do it again. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this out because I forgot I'm going to insert it through here. Okay, I have to go through that whole experience again. All right, I'm just going to take my bead. I'm going to insert it through my 3-looped ring here because it's meant to be sitting in the middle like so. Okay, like that. That's how it's supposed to be sitting. Okay, all right, I'm going to go through that whole experience again. All right, this time around, I think okay, look through the... Oh, look at this. Look, it went through. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I've been just like, okay, so I've threaded it so it looks like that. Okay, that's what it looks like right now. All right. So it looks like this. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and put my spacer rondelle on both sides. I really wish my bead stopper was here. I really wish it was here and it's nowhere near around me. Whew. Okay, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I just have to. Okay, so I put my rhinestone rhinestone spacer bead, rondelle spacer bead here. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and now. Okay, let me get my agate beads out. So this agate bead I'm using is maybe about 8mm, I think. I think that's 8mm in size. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and thread my agate bead onto my tiger tail. Insert, thread again my spacer bead. and then my agate. So I'm just going to keep repeating that pattern till I get the amount that I want. Oh. Okay, keep going. All right, here, and then put that through here, and then, okay, so it's looking like that. Okay, so it's gonna be it's gonna be sparkly, but again, still having that kind of black and white, a little bit like a muted color, dark colors. So this will be perfect, like we're approaching autumn, which Americans will call fall. So we are approaching that season here, and obviously colors is nice, but I've got my grumpy dog. Is very grumpy. It's raining and it's pouring down, and he wants to go out for his morning walkies, and he doesn't quite understand that it's raining. He doesn't really understand that it's raining. Okay, all right, so I've got that here. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite side as well. So I'm going to put that side to one side. I'm going to use, how many beads have I used? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm just going to use 10 of my, let's find, where's the hole here? 10. So I'm going to thread 10 on the opposite side. And then I'll tell you how many of the Rondelle I used so far. So that when you're making yours, you probably might want to use the same pattern, or you might choose to use a different one. Maybe, you know, just come up with your own style. If you want to use this style, that's cool. But yeah, so I'll just let you know how many I've used in a bit. So I'll just thread the 10. So repeating the pattern. Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. With all this, okay, yeah, good. So the best thing to do, actually, just when you're choosing your beads, choose a bead that is wide enough. Because sometimes I've made mistakes in the past where it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. I learned from it. Whereby I really, really used a bead that I wanted to use a bead for a project that was way too small. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, one more. Okay. It was way too small, and I really, really struggled threading it through. It was a bit of a, okay, so I've done 10 on this side. Okay, I'm gonna use, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out some beads because I want to make some earrings with it as well. So I'm just gonna take out 2 of those beads out. So I've got 2, 4, 6. Okay, so I'm just dividing the beads that I'll need for each side. So I've got 4 here, 4 there. And yeah, I think that should be enough. And then 5, let me use all of them. Let me use all of them. So just put that. So I'll tell you how many I've used on both sides. Hold on. Okay, yeah, still got enough roof space to thread my, okay. Bear in mind, Anita, okay, how long do you want this? Okay, it's all right because I like long necklaces. Not super long, but I like super long too, but I like layering my necklaces. So I think this length will be good for me. I think it'll be good. All right, so I'm just gonna put my last bead on this side, okay? And I'm gonna repeat the same thing. Hopefully there'll be more spacer beads left. I use these spacer beads like anything. I use them like anything, like it's crazy. Okay, so here, all right. So I'm just gonna, so if you plan it out on your beading board, obviously it would be easier. But if you're just going with the flow, like I'm just going with the flow, I love going with the flow. Oh my goodness, because you don't know what to expect. Okay, all right. So I've got my 2 parts strung up like that. So I think to finish off both ends, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put like my Swarovski crystal there. Anita. Okay. I'm just gonna put one of the black beads. Let me put one black bead there, and then put the Swarovski crystals like so. Okay, so I've got that black bead there, and then Swarovski crystals like that. I'm gonna put another 4mm on both on the other side, and then I'm gonna put my Swarovski crystals, teardrop crystals like that. Okay. Oh, I still got some. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. It's good enough to make earrings. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm gonna now thread onto my tiger tail, my crimp tube. Okay. So I'm gonna thread onto that my crimp tube like so. All right. So depending on how I wanna hang my necklace, so I've got my toggle clasp here. So I normally, okay, so this side would be here. All right, this side would be there. So I've got my toggle clasp. Look at that, it's so beautiful. Look at that. So I've got that toggle clasp there. So I'm just gonna take this part of my tiger tail here. I'm gonna pass it through the loop on my toggle bead, toggle clasp. I'm gonna take my tiger tail like so. Okay, make sure that when I'm pulling, you see, that's why I need my bead stopper. I miss my bead stopper, it's not around me. Okay, I'm just gonna take this part of my tiger tail, insert it through the crimp tube. Okay, you see that? I'm gonna insert this other wire through my Swarovski crystal, and then through that my 4mm glass bead. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and flatten my crimp. Okay, and then once I flatten my crimp, you can see when I flatten the crimp, is giving this toggle room to maneuver, so it's not too tight against the toggle, so you can see it's still moving about. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cover my crimp tube with my crimp cover. Okay, because I don't want it scratching my neck when I put it on. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and, where's my other, okay, my flat nose plier. Just going to cover the crimp tube. Okay, so I'm just going to switch again to my other plier with a pointy part. I've got so many tools on my table. So many tools. I've got, I kid you not, I've got 2 sets of flat nose plier, round nose plier, side cutters on this table. You'll probably realize that the one I showed you in the beginning is not the one I'm using, but hey, it still does the same thing. Okay, so I've done that part there. Okay, make sure that that's covered completely, that the 2 ends of the crimp cover is closed. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it maybe. With the crimp cover, you have to keep practicing till you get it right. Okay, so this part here, you can either trim it off, or I'm just going to insert it back into my beads. So insert it back through the beads, like so. Actually, I might trim it off here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide it along. So I'm pulling this side of my tiger tail, so you can see that part is shortened there. You can even see where I hid my hid my wire, extra wire. So for the other opposite side, I'm going to insert my thread, my crimp tube, and you see this part of my, see the toggle here? I don't know which way to use this actually. Do I use it that way? Maybe use it that way. So I'm just going to thread. It's got like a loop part at the back. So I'm going to thread my tiger tail through the back of the loop. I'm going to thread my tiger tail back through my crimp, and then through my Swarovski crystals, and then through my bead there. Okay, I'll pull. Okay, you know, before I threaded it through the, excuse my doggy, he's barking. And I'm gonna go ahead here, give myself enough space. Gizmo, stop. Stop, Gizmo. Okay, I'm gonna now take my flat nose plier. I'm gonna flatten my crimp like so. And then I'm going to take my side cutter. I'm gonna trim this side here, okay? So you can see, you can push in that extra wire there. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my crimp cover. I'm gonna place it inside my crimp tube, and then I'm gonna close my crimp cover. Okay, fabulous. So I've crimped it. That's good. I'm liking the way it's looking. Okay, so once we are done, that's it. This is what our necklace looks like. So you're just gonna, to finish it, to put on your, just put it through here like so. And then you pull it out like that. And there you've got your toggle. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that's it. That is what it looks like. Oh my goodness, that's it. Who would have thought that this was once a belt pendant? This was a belt pendant. And then that's it, we've made a necklace out of it. So let me just clear this space so we can exhibit our necklace. Okay, so I look forward to seeing your own amazing designs. I bet your own is going to look fantastic. It's going to look awesome. So if you have like, even like if you have like, you know, you have some metal belt pendants, you can use them. So you see what we've done here, we've just added the fringing. So this is what it looks like with the toggle clasp. Oh, I need to move this so you can see properly. Let's make a way, let's make a space for our necklace. That's what it looks like. Oh my goodness, that's it. That's it, that's it. You can wear this with anything. You can wear this with t-shirts, you can wear this with evening cocktail dresses. Let's arrange that properly. Look at that, that's what it looks like. Oh my goodness. I am quite proud of myself, if I do say so myself. If I do say so myself. So we've got the toggle clasp there. We've got the toggle clasp. We've got our agates, we've got our rhinestone. So here I used, let me tell you how many Rondelle spacer beads I used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 30 altogether rhinestone, the rhinestone Rondelle on this side. So 30, so it'll be 15 here on one side and then 15 on this side, okay? And then for the agate bead, I use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. 30 altogether, 15 on one side, and then 15 on this side. And then we finished off with the 2 beads on both ends, 2 4mm beads on both ends, and then the Swarovski teardrop crystals. And then we finished off with the crimp bead and then the crimp cover. Look at that. And then obviously we've got our detail there. We've got, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at that. How amazing is this? So like I said, whatever you have that is old, yeah, and you think, oh, it's lived, is past its sell by date, just keep them. Don't get rid of them. Keep them, keep them, keep them, keep them. All right, keep them. But that's what it looks like. I am so happy with it. I am so happy, jolly, jolly, jolly with it. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So thank you so much for going on this creative journey with me. Just watch out for the next video. I'm going to do like an earring to accompany our beautiful necklace. But thank you so much. If you like this video, wherever you're watching, if you're watching it on my YouTube channel, please don't forget to comment, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. I absolutely enjoy creating and I love sharing these ideas with you. So I look forward to seeing your beautiful creations. And thank you once again. Have the most amazing day. Take care. Bye.